Welcome to the Pace Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Jackson, and we're here in the Pace Studio in New York. And today I'm so thrilled to be joined by the doctor, Jodie Whittaker. Welcome, Jodie.
Thank you very much. It's very exciting.
It's exciting for me. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. So this is a joy. The 12th season, your second season, has just dropped. And how does it feel to be here in New York with a season and a half under your belt now?
Well, it's easier than last time because the last time I was in New York pressing the show, it had before anything had aired and I couldn't say a word. So what's really wonderful is I've got an entire season to reflect on, and I've also got 2 episodes that I can talk about because they've already gone out. So
you can talk about them.
Yeah.
And so it is hard to believe it's been 2.5 years since you were announced as the Doctor. Can you talk a little bit about that journey of from getting announced to now you do have a season and plus under your belt?
It's a funny role for that because you are famous for a job you haven't done. And you haven't stepped foot, you haven't had a second on set, and you were already put into the forefront of the Who universe without earning it, because you haven't done anything yet. And so it's a really strange way round. Usually the creation of your work and the seeing of the work is the thing that people go, oh, I know you from that. But when, you have a whole promo and you put your hood down and you are announced as the next Doctor, and obviously for me being the first female, the noise around that is really exciting, but it's also, it's so terrifying because you're like, right, I've got to do it now. And I've got to live up to this hype and this history and this, this extraordinary thing that's gone before. You don't want to be the season that ruins it. So.
Yeah. They were certainly giant shoes, but I talked to Chris Chibnall before the premiere last year.
Oh, did you? Right.
And he said, that as soon as you crash landed into that episode, you immediately became the Doctor. You were just fizzing with energy and curiosity. I have to agree. Each actor who's come and played this role, there's always that opportunity to bring something new. How would you describe your version of the Doctor?
I'd say the thing I really wanted to capture was you've just articulated that kind of fizzing energy and that ability to dance between thoughts, not just mentally but physically. I loved the fact that this role could kind of encompass all aspects of yourself. It could be in your hand gestures. It can be, I love the idea of the fidgeting and the unsettledness, but it being always done with curiosity and not with judgment and not, for me, I'm not hugely cerebral, I'm very emotional. And so I love the fact that Chris it kind of celebrates that side of me as well, which is kind of thinking from my 2 hearts going forward. And also that idea that there's always hope and I love the quality in children when there's a lack of judgment because they haven't necessarily always got a preconceived idea about something. But the Doctor very often has the most amount of hindsight but can still enter into a scenario and not decide before they know what's happening what is going to happen. And I love that kind of open-mindedness, that inclusivity, and also just the fact that every day you play. And that, there's no job like that.
Wow, that's great. So, one of the things I love about the show is the optimism of the Doctor, is the caring for humanity, and it's optimism that feels earned because the character has been through so much over the course of her life. And does that resonate with you, just this feeling of optimism, of hope in the character?
Absolutely. And I think it's a really kind of beautiful thing to seep into your life. I've never been a method actor in the sense of in the traditional sense where you stay in character and in between scenes, but when you do kind of high trauma or very emotionally often draining roles for such a long time, like a lot of my previous work has been someone on the brink of something or in the aftermath of something horrific, and you don't really realise how much that comes home with you until you step into the roles of the shoes of someone like the Doctor, when there is so much trauma within the history, within the Doctor's history. But it is, like you say, it's never dampened that hope or muted a sense of openness to endless possibility. And I really love the fact that kind of can carry into your life, especially as you get older. It's harder not to judge. It's harder to not think, I don't like that, I don't want to do that. And you just think, oh, do you know what a wonderful thing to always be positive, to not always be positive, but to presume in positivity rather than go in negatively. Because it's, you know, you turn on the news, you walk down the street, there's always something, that you can like send you into a rage, but to kind of try to see the best and to hope for it, even if it's not immediately in front of you.
Yeah, and the care for humanity. This is a protector. You're
and the love of humanity and the love of humans. Mandip's talked quite a lot about, because we got asked in an interview the other day about what is it you for your new year, what's your New Year's resolution? And Mandip said something so beautiful of just like, let's just be kind to each other and kindness. And you think, do you know what? It can be missing so regularly. Mm-hmm. And a kindness to yourself in that sense. And the fact that as creatures, humans are extraordinary. And I love how much the Doctor loves humanity.
Yeah. Well, and science fiction can go in every direction. You can have these dystopian, futuristic science fictions. Doctor Who feels unique in its playfulness with the genre, in its optimism and just sincerity, and I've always loved that about the show. Yeah.
Also, we don't have the rules that are kind of implemented into a lot of shows or films. Obviously, if something's set somewhere and then you travel to somewhere else, you have these two located. There may be time travel involved, but you've come from one and you end up at another and you maybe go back. Whereas for us and for every season, you maybe have your base and or something that is a centre to everyone. So in our season, very much for the family, Sheffield is this, the kind of thing that links them. But we can go anywhere. We can go to the future, the past, to a time that we have no idea exists. And I think as a showrunner, you saying you've talked to Chris before, that must be the most exciting thing, that this is an open book for
and
you
probably
to do
terrifying,
whatever.
because it's not just where you take the show, but the tone can be from week to week. You can have horror one week, you can have historical travel, you can have super hard sci-fi with tech gadgets and everything. This season opens with spies. How fun was that to get to play spies?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I really enjoyed this because there was so much energy in it, and it was fun, and it was playful, and it was epic, but then particularly the last 2 minutes of the first episode just flipped itself on its head, and what a thing to be able to do. And also, we weren't spoiled. There wasn't this massive leak. It was a genuine surprise for so many people. Yes. And his performance, try not to say it in case someone hasn't seen it, but
we're gonna have to talk about it.
We're gonna have to talk.
Yeah.
But Sasha's performance as the Master, it was just because also you're watching him go from into the Master, and it's just such a genius switch, and to have that on a plane that's plummeting through the sky on on a TV show that's kind of staple to the BBC for, years and years. And to have this kind of scale is, for your Doctor is really exciting.
It was exciting. I didn't see that coming. And we had Michelle Gomez sitting where you are here last year on the podcast. And
we've never met.
Have you never met?
No, I'd love to meet Missy.
So Missy becomes the Master. And, that's one of the iconic, with Doctor Who, each of these villains that they bring back, it's these iconic villains at this point that have changed, and just as the Doctor's changed over time. And can you talk a little bit about the new relationship between the Doctor and this version of the Master?
I think what's so interesting is that, like you say, because of both of our regeneration abilities, to recreate brand new chemistry and brand new relationships with two of the oldest characters is like, I just can't think of another show that could do that in a way, And so for us, it's wonderful because it doesn't come with any baggage, as much as it might feel or seem like it would, because we're playing these really famous roles. What it does is completely free you to go, look, there's no point doing what's been done before, because, you know, Michelle nailed it. I don't need to do, you know, Sasha doesn't need to do what Michelle's doing, because she smashed that. So, like, for me, I don't need to think, oh, will David do this? Will Matt do this? Like, they've done it. So for us, what I really enjoyed about the scenes with Sasha was there was almost like a dance with it. He's very physical and I'm physical. And so the directors were always really wonderful at giving us a space, not restricting us to this mark and this mark, so that we could kind of have this very ominous dance throughout. And he, take to take, does something completely different, and it's unnerving and his mood is erratic.
A little unhinged.
He's unhinged, and, you know, he even references what a short fuse he's got. And so I loved that, because there's darkness in it, and particularly, you know, it's a funny transition to go from the scene where he's going, you know, say my name, and I'm having to say it, but then realising I've got a tiny little thing over him because he's not in control. And that kind of going from darkness to lightness continually was, as an actor, those are brilliant scenes to play.
When you realise, when the doctor realises that he doesn't
know.
He
doesn't know. Yeah. But that's why it's such an interesting part, because, you know, I suppose in anything else, you're not only restricted to, like, the town you've set it in, but you're restricted to the period that you've set it in, and the etiquette of the time, or, you know, or you know, would you, if this was, you know, set in the 1900s, would I be sat like this? You know, we didn't have any of that. We can literally be who we want to be in these moments and be incredibly present no matter what is going on around us. And so the fact that, like, both of our moods can jump so quickly, I think links us to fundamentally where we've come from, but also the fact that we've chosen such completely different paths.
Oh, that's fantastic. So as you say, this role, this journey, it hasn't been you alone. You have companions. The doctor always has companions, and you have three great ones.
They're over there.
A couple of them right in the other room.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about what the companions mean to the doctor, and also what these fellow actors mean to you.
So I suppose what this particular group means to the doctor is a sense of family, and whether that is always comfortable, or whether it's all, you know. And I think there's interesting moments when, you know, it's particularly in the episode, I think it's episode 4 of my season 1, season 11, where I think I'm dropping them at home and that's it, you know, and they're back in Sheffield, and then they decide to come. So there is this thing of, like, I can cope with this. I've been through this before. You know, there's a lot of loss. If you are going to live this long, there's going to be a lot of loss involved in that. But the moment of, like, glee when she realises they're going to come too. And so with that, there is this interesting dynamic that what we see more this season is maybe the one-on-one. So me and Yaz, or me and Graham, and me and Ryan, or those guys going off and doing their thing. And I think the first season was very much an exploration into who we are. If this is your new, if Doctor Who's new to you, this is a wonderful starting off point, because, you know, there's going to be absolute Easter eggs and nuggets from all the other seasons, but if it doesn't make sense to you, it'll make sense to you in your way. Yeah. But I think with this one, because we've had those 11 hours to explore that, this is about giving the character space, finding out who they are, finding out that it isn't just them needing the doctor needs them. But for me personally, I mean, there's an EPK. It's so embarrassing because he got one really. So when we do EPK all the time during filming, so, you know, like, they'll sit you down in between every scene and go, tell us what it was like filming that scene. You're like, well, it was 5 minutes ago and it was really fun. But someone got me on such a funny day, and they were like, what's it like working with these three? And I just burst into tears. I was like, I just love them so much. But it's ridiculous, but you can't predict what is going to come out of a job. And for me, I thought Doctor Who was going to be, you know, this incredible journey that would, nerve-wrackingly so, put me in the public eye in a way that I've never wanted to be. But if it's going to happen, what a positive and wonderful thing for it to happen. And I knew that would bring its own challenges. But what I didn't expect was an actual family. And I have 2 extra siblings now and another dad. And it is absolutely beautiful. And we're so, so lucky, because it's very rarely that you don't all click. But it is also quite rare when it's on such a level when you're 9.5 months with each other at all times of the day, in all moods, and you're still genuinely excited to see everybody every morning.
Yeah, because unlike TV shows you've done in the past or films that you've done, it doesn't end with the filming. I mean, you're doing this, you're doing conventions.
But most things are shorter. Like, I don't know here, because I've never worked over here, but the longest job I'd ever done was Broadchurch, and it was 5 months. And we, by the end of it, we're like, we're exhausted. I mean, to be fair, we'd been crying for 5 months, so it was really exhausting. But this is nearly double that. And you'd think every day that, I don't know, you just think you'd fall out of love, but actually you don't. It just becomes so familiar that the 3 weeks off we had between last time, so we finished all the press on like the mid-December, we started shooting early Jan, I was like, hi guys, like, really missed you.
So, and then it provides a lot of opportunity, you say, for better, for worse, to be in front of the public and to be the doctor. I know for a lot of people, especially maybe young girls who haven't had that a doctor like you before to look up to. How has that experience been, and just embodying this role even when you're on a chat with somebody on FaceTime just a minute ago?
It's what is wonderful is being constantly reminded if I'd have walked into a room and seen the cast of Goonies when I were a kid, I'd have died. I'd have absolutely died. And I know what that feels like. And I've had fan moments, and I'll continue to have fan moments. I'm late 30s now, and I had one like a few months ago, and I was such a loser. I thought I was going to be cooler. But it'll continue to happen. I'm always going to bump into someone at some point in your life that you go, oh my God. And to be able to be it's so narcissistic, but to be able to be the provider of that moment for somebody, that's only a good thing. And I've only ever had really positive experiences, but particularly because when I was younger, the roles I wanted to play didn't often look like me. I wanted to be Atreyu, and I wanted to be Mikey, and the other parts were Ace, but those were the parts I wanted to play. And I think we're in a time now where, thank goodness, 2018's come around and I got cast. But in others, absolutely, in so much cinema, now if I was a kid, I'd want to be 11. And, that's absolute. I was like so weird being like 35 and going, that's my dream role other than the Doctor in Doctor Who. And it's like, well, I've missed my moment. But, things like that we're seeing all ages and genders be heroes. And I think that's the thing. It's like, don't just give it to the grown-ups, give it to the young ones as well. There's like, but for me, growing up, I was expected to find men heroic and look up to them. We all look up to women in our lives very often. You've got an auntie, you've got a mum, you've got a sister or a gran who has inspired you. So for that person to be in a character that you love, it shouldn't feel such a surprise. So that's my thing. It wasn't necessarily just for, this is for the girls. It's like, no, it's for the lads. This is for the young lads to remind us that, like, that you can't. I think it'd be so sad to watch something and think I can't connect to that because you're a different gender to me because it's never been expected of us. We've always been expected to find that heroic.
Well, and I love that we're in the second season now, so we've kind of, you're the Doctor. It's not, and now
everyone's
the Doctor's a woman.
Now.
Everybody's over it. But
We've
you can still, I love the little, celebratory nods to people like Ada Lovelace in this new episode where you can pull people out of history.
Well, Ada Lovelace, is incredibly famous woman through history, but nor Ian Khan. I didn't know about her, and so for that, Chris is just such a beautiful writer, and he's so good at picking these fascinating people to. We've got some more coming up as well in this season. I think I'm allowed to say about the person that this building is linked to, Nikola Tesla. Yeah, I even put my hand over the mic and just spoke at the same level. So, Nikola Tesla, like these incredible people throughout history. But when it's someone like, say, Ian Khan, I had no idea who that was, which is probably shameful on my part. But then if you are like me and didn't know, what a wonderful little glimpse into a moment, but absolutely within the genre of Doctor Who.
It's great to be able to pull these people out. And yes, so Nikola Tesla, as we were talking about before, died in this building, lived in the Manhattan, in the New Yorker hotel.
We didn't know
years.
that. And I heard Mandy being told and Tosin being told through there, and they were like, no way.
So that's cool that he'll be showing up in the later season. So you've done spies now. Is there any genre that you like get super excited for that the Doctor can kind of tackle?
For me, the ones that I really, really love, and the ones that it's no spoiler to even say because it does happen, is I really love it when we go to the unvisited planets. I love that.
I love the space ones, travel. Okay,
I love the ones that it's like it's alien. It's literally alien to all of us. I love the fact that like the art department and the costume department and the makeup department are so incredibly talented, and I love it when we turn up somewhere and we're like, wow, look at this. And I just think the kid in me who is a sci-fi fan, I love all that. But I know from the gang, like I'd say Mandip and Brad would probably say that they love the period ones when you go back through time. They really enjoy those. And I think Tosin's probably similar to me. Like we've had, when we shot our Ghost Monument, the amazing places we visited in South Africa, but then when you see it put together, it absolutely looks like desolation.
Yeah, and so you talk about going to South Africa. This one was shot in Cape Town, right?
Yeah.
And you've shot in Norway.
No, we haven't.
Oh, you haven't. It was just
we shot in Cardiff.
Okay, it's supposed to look like Norway.
I know, he's so clever.
But have you gone on location a lot for the show?
We've been to a couple of places. So South Africa for this season and Tenerife, and there's another one that we haven't mentioned yet. So I don't know if I'm allowed. So I won't necessarily. The New York. Where that was filmed? No, okay. The boss is shaking his head. But we've used various places, but most of it is shot in and around Wales, and we are so lucky. If you've never been, it's an extraordinarily beautiful country, and it's just really. It kind of has epic landscape that looks like a fjord, but it wasn't a fjord. In the Norway, it was the Brecon Beacons, and. So we travel quite a lot. I think what's really fun as well is when you are filming with the classic monsters, very often you want to do that in secret. So when you've got a Cyberman or a Jadoon, it's fun to have them out and about, but also you do want to be able to film without iPhones and smartphones and tablets. And so we do go to these brilliant places just to keep that secret. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So you do a bunch of events and out and about. Have you gotten to do any back in Huddersfield? Have you gotten?
Yeah, there is like a little mini con, I think, in Huddersfield.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah, I've done our village. Probably instigated by my dad. I had a TARDIS outside of the local butcher for the whole of Christmas last year, and I'd like turn up and
that's
do
fantastic.
that. My dad also paid for a TARDIS Christmas light to be in the village. So as you drove into the village, there was a blue TARDIS as the part of the Christmas decorations. But I think like Huddersfield, they've got some bigger names. We've got Harold Wilson from Huddersfield and the Huddersfield Town football team. So I think I'm a bit low down on their list. And Patrick Stewart's from Huddersfield. I'm old news. So.
But it's got to feel good to be recognized. Good.
It's fun. It's fun.
Be celebrated by your hometown.
Yeah, and also I just think. What's wonderful about this role was it's very close to me, and I auditioned and said to Chris, I was like, oh, so obviously you don't want my accent. He was like, no, I want you to just use your own voice. It wasn't about, someone else will have auditioned and they will not have said, do a Yorkshire accent. It was just use your own voice, and I was like, really? And so then I did, and I was like, do you know what? Yeah, why wouldn't it work?
Yeah.
Peter did. So it's a funny one because you think, no, surely I have to add this huge characterization in my voice, but I'm glad I didn't, because David must have had an absolute learning those lines is hard enough without learning another dialect on top of it.
So you've worked with some Whovians in the past. Did David Tennant have any advice for you taking the role?
Everyone was lovely because I now know that there isn't anything you can say except the thing that they said. I was lucky enough to directly speak to Peter, David and Matt before the announcement. Just like only about 2 days before. And I was, absolutely terrified and couldn't get my head around the fact that this trailer was going to be put on TV. And the thing that they all really kind of hinted at, it wasn't like, do this, do that, it was none of that, because I realise you can't do that. But what you can say is just, it goes so quickly and it's such a huge adventure. Just try and like be in it and be, and they're right. Like, I cannot believe we've wrapped on our second season. I can't believe that. It's gone so quick. And when you just said 2.5 years, I was like,
crazy. I
know. Thank God I haven't aged. Thank God it's a podcast.
So it is.
No one can say.
It is, it's a tough job. I mean, can you see yourself doing this for a few more years?
Well, there's no spoiler because I've said it before. This isn't my last season. So I definitely, unless I say something really bad in this press tour and they kick me out, I definitely wanted to, I don't want this season to be my last. I absolutely adore it. And I feel like I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
But what is wonderful is I'll feel so emotional and I'll be like handing over the baton and then not quite letting go. But when that time comes, it will be so exciting to see, because there's only a few of us knows what this is like, and it's such a small family. Like, particularly as a doctor, like that this is a club that you're always a member, and and knowing that you get to give someone else a key is really exciting.
That's great. So is there anything during the time that you have as this doctor, is there anything that you hope to get to do? I hear you talking Goonies and Never-Ending Story and that kind of stuff.
I really want to, I keep saying to Chris, I was like, can we go see where E.T. lives? So I don't know if that'll happen. But I love the fact that we don't, when things are revisited, it's really earned. So when classic things are brought back, or if for us moments, emotionally are revisited or physically revisited, I love the fact that it's always in a slightly different context. So you never feel like everything's brand new. And I know with Chris and all the amazing writers he gets and directors, there's no point even for me. I'm like, my crap idea will be outdone by all of them. So I'll be like, what if... I did have a suggestion and it comes up, so I can't say what it's about. But I went, Chris, I've got this really great idea for an episode. He went, oh, yeah, we've already written it. I was like, I thought I was ace.
Well, there you go. Yeah. You get to experience it.
But I'll just pretend it was my idea.
All right. So, doing this, it does take up all your time. So, in the past, you've done theater, you've done any movies. Is there anything that you're looking forward to getting? I mean, like, what?
I think the thing that I'm really excited about is one of the biggest pleasures for me, and which is one of the last times I was in New York, was myself and one of my best mates. She wrote, directed, and edited a film that I was in that I exec produced, and she won the Nora Ephron Prize at Tribeca. And we made this tiny little film for £400,000, which I know if someone had £400,000, it's not a small amount of money. But when you're making a film, it doesn't go far.
Yeah.
Was
that adult
life skills? And it was such a pleasure to work with your mates. My oldest, best mate was casting it as my best mate because we were all friends from growing up.
Yeah.
Like the guy playing my twin brothers, is my best boy mate. And it was all the essays. Like my brother's in it, my niece is in it. Like all our mates are in it. Like Rachel's dad's in it. Like it was this absolute pleasure to create this thing, and it was such an emotional journey that I feel as if this job is going to give me any opportunity, it's going to maybe give me a platform where we might get a little bit more financing and that we can create the work we want to do, because this is like no job. I can't recreate this. There'll be no job. You don't go on to another job and go, oh yeah, I'm playing another alien. It's like, it's probably going to be very rare, but for the things that I want to do is I want to work with the people that I love, and there's lots of them. And I think to be able to make our own stuff is really exciting. And I think that jobs like this put you in a place where you meeting such extraordinary people. It's like, let's just put all those skills together in one pot and let's all do something. So I just want to kind of make a collective.
Well, that sounds fantastic. Well, thank you so much for this.
Thanks for the backdrop. For anyone listening to the podcast, you can't see the backdrop, but it's absolutely brilliant.
Well, we'll have to dig through those and see some fun stuff back there. Get one when you go.
Yeah, great.
Well, thanks so much, and I look forward to the rest of this season, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming here.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Take care.